Welcome to Pimpy's Investment Chat, where we keep investment talk simple. And here's your host, Pimpy.
What is going on out there, peeps? All right, let's get back to Iraq because a lot of people are asking me about that TSA banking system that's in there. I believe it's pronounced TSA. I'm pretty sure it's pronounced TSA. I might be wrong, but we'll take a look at it and I'll explain to you what it is. We'll cover that here in just a moment, along with all the fun, loving stuff that's happening in the news in Iraq. Before we get started, if you're not a subscriber, please do so, because when you do, it helps out the channel, and I certainly do appreciate it. If you're thinking about buying gold and silver, or any other precious metals for that matter, head on over to our friends at Money Metals Exchange. The link is down below in the description. When you purchase over there at Money Metals Exchange, you will now be automatically entered into a chance to get free giveaways. This month, you'll be automatically registered to be one of 3 people who will receive 10 ounces. That's 10 silver eagles each. So head on over to Money Metals, make your purchase, and automatically enter to win. For those of you who are unaware, I do have my own webpage. I can be found at Pimpy's News Network. Over here, I do post videos that I can't post on YouTube without getting in trouble. I also have my own Facebook group called Pimpy's Investment Chat. Over here, we do talk about gold, silver, cryptocurrencies, as well as foreign currency investments. So come on over here and join us. It's free to do so. I can also be found over here on Twitter, MeWe, YouTube, Odyssey, and now I'm on Rumble. For whatever reasons, my videos are not showing up on my channel yet, but I can be found just by going to the search button and typing in Pimpy's Investment Chat. And my videos will pop up for you to check out. If I get kicked off YouTube or I get suspended on YouTube, you can find me on any other one of these social media platforms. So it's starting to look like some of the officials in the higher uppers are starting to get a little frustrated. Maybe there are some people in there making some rumblings about slowing down the approval of the budget, or maybe it's being done too fast. Either way, the powers that be are saying there's no excuse for anyone if the budget is late. There might be an excuse. In the presence of the Minister of Finance, Al-Mandalawi, the people will not excuse anyone if the budget is late. Oh, I would say it's pretty late right about now. I don't know about you guys. So they're just going on and on talking about how important it is to speed up the process of approving the budget so we can start doing what we need to do, such as finance special projects within Iraq, which is a big deal there. During the meeting, Mandalawi said that the importance of speeding up the completion of this discussion and maturation of the project, indicating that the Iraqi people of all spectrums are waiting for the approval of the budget because of its direct link to their lives, and no one will be excused if it is delayed. Oh, like I said, maybe there is an excuse out there somewhere, but they are taking their sweet butt time, that's for sure. The first deputy called for identifying appropriate procedures to overcome the current obstacles and challenges to expedite the approval of the budget, stressing the need to ensure financial dues for those with grades for appointment, and to increase the share of governance to complete lagging and strategic projects. During the meeting, the doors of disbursement of the amounts of the emergency support law were clarified, and the provisions of the detailed data to the Finance Committee on it was emphasized. It actually says that, believe it or not. And employee compensation and service supplies, grants and subsidies, social welfare, and internal and external debts were discussed. So here we go. Parliamentary Finance announces next week the final indicator for drafting and approving the budget law. Where we at the first week of May? We know it's not even going to go out until the first week of June if they got it approved right away anyways. So right now it's in the hands of the committee. They have it, and then they still got to send it down to Parliament, to the House of Representatives. Al-Qadimi, the committee continues to review the ministries and various institutions to identify the budget allocated to them and the work programs of the ministry. And today evening, there is a meeting with the Minister of Finance, and during these next few days, we will finish hosting the ministries and imposing the final drafting of the law permanently. It is hoped that next week will be the final indicator for the drafting the draft law and presenting it to the House of Representatives for approval, taking into account the required variables with regards to oil exports, exchange rate, and the fiscal deficit that must be reduced, especially since the remaining period of the year is 7 months for the government to start implementing its program starting next June. So yes, I know a lot of people ask me, what does that mean? People are saying, could they change the rate, Pimpy? Yeah, of course they can. Until the final budget is out. We know that they had projected the budget for the one we're at now, 1,300 dinars. They could come out and say the budget has been approved. It is now out there. By the way, the new exchange rate is whatever it is. That is a possibility, but I doubt it. Like I said, I do anticipate it going up in increments. We're at 1,300 dinars for every dollar. Of course, I would love it to at least get back to the 1,190 dinars where we were prior to it being devalued. But we'll see. Look, I would love to be surprised just as much as you guys would. Wake up one morning and find out that, heck, they went for it. They're saying you get like 500 dinars for every dollar. You know, something like that, or closer to what our goal is, to try to get up there where the dinar is actually more valuable than the US dollar. Maybe the reason why they're saying that is because the purchasing power of the dollar has been diminishing little by little every month. They are pegged to the dollar. So maybe they made some kind of adjustment to the budget. There's no promises. I'm just speculating right now as to why that is in there. But I'm sure that not only me, there is a ton of people out there that's going to be keeping an eye to see if there's any changes to the exchange rate. And in case you're wondering why it is that they might change the exchange rate after everything, to have more purchasing power. So if they're importing a lot of goods, that dinar would carry them a long ways, stretch things out a little bit more than where they are right now. This also would help the people stretch their means out. This would allow them to purchase things a little bit more cheaper because the purchasing power of the dinar would be a little bit stronger. Now here is where people are getting confused because of what they say in this sentence. Taking into account the required variables with regard to oil exports, right here, exchange rate and the physical deficit that must be reduced. Because it says here exchange rate and the physical deficit, they must be reduced. Don't get overly excited. Some people are wondering if that means they're going to devalue the dinar again, or maybe it's going to go the other way where they are reducing the amount of dinars that is in exchange for the dollar. I could see where that confusion comes from, but no, we don't know. That's the thing. I don't want to say one way or another, but I doubt they're going to do anything with the rate. I might be wrong, but I'm just saying. I know those two sentences are together, but I think they're trying to make a point about their actions. And, you know, the fact that they stuck them both together like that, making it look like they're going to reduce the exchange rate. Some people think that means devaluing. Some people think that means reduce the number of dinars in exchange for the US dollar. Just like you guys, I would love for it to be the latter of the two, and they reduce the amount of dinars we get for every dollar, because that means the dinar would be more valuable. But I don't think they're going to be changing the exchange rate. I understand that's confusing, and I understand why, but that's not what it is. But the government really does need to pass this budget and get it implemented. There are a lot of projects out there that have stalled. Infrastructure projects, both private and the public sector, these projects all need financing, and they've been working, I believe, on the same rate that the budget was, a year and a half ago? Because if a budget doesn't get approved, they just continue with the last approved budget. So they have a lot of operational expenses. A lot has happened since the last budget was approved. So yeah, they're right. They definitely need to get the budget passed and just started getting a lot of these projects out there financed right away so they can start resuming some level of a normal life. It's kind of hard to do things when you don't get the money from the government that you need. And I'm not just talking about people. I'm also talking about companies that are out there. A lot of people were asking about this. Minister discusses Treasury single account system with the IMF experts. So the single account system, which is known as, where the hell is it at? Right here. The Treasury single account, the TSA system. All that is for government institutions. They would all be tapped into this system. So as the money from the budget is allocated out, it allows them to keep track of who has and who has not received the money. Then from there, they can also monitor where that money goes out of those accounts to make sure that they're going where they should properly. So it's a great way for auditing. This system has been implemented, and it is in connection with the IMF, which, you know, anytime you're dealing with the IMF or the World Bank, it's not necessarily a good thing. I'm going to guess that the Treasury single account system is just the testing stage of the central bank digital currency, but instead of it working with everybody, it's only within the government institutions and their ability to monitor where the money goes and how it's allocated. That's the best way to put it. It's so the central bank will use it, but even commercial banks have the ability to do this. But mostly this is just for government institutions is what this is. They will be able to monitor where the money goes, how much went, where it went to, everything like that. Here's what gets me is how close Washington is really paying attention to how quickly Iraq implements all of the reforms necessary to their banking system. Now, they had a lot of outdated systems, but they've been able to manage slightly, even though they're really outdated. But they're really being ball busters about this new system. The best that I can think is if these people want to try to do the central bank digital currency all around the world, it's kind of hard when you have a lot of countries out there that don't have the necessary infrastructure to be tied into this huge network. And I think that's what they're doing, is they're pushing governments to hurry up and get this thing installed, because the United States wants to be able to control everybody's money is what it is. But yeah, there's a huge push. We've been watching the United States come in and do bank reform with Iraq now for years. They've been pushing these people, training them, pushing, and there seems to be a sense of urgency this time around, and I think it has a lot to do with the central bank digital currency. Now, like this article, look at this. International Monetary Fund expects Iraq's external debt to fall by $1.2 billion. So where are they at? Is that $23.2 billion is where they are, but they expect it to be down around $20.8 billion by the time it reaches 2024? Yeah, it's really been amazing to watch Iraq pay off all their debt, both external and internal, and they're doing it in huge leaps and bounds. But that just goes to show you that if they didn't have all these fines and things they had to settle out of court and pay, like Kuwait and anybody else, and they had these external debts paid off, this country would be a very rich country. So I think, like everybody else, all eyes on Iraq's budget, making sure it gets passed so they can start allocating out payments and funds to projects and institutions that need it as quickly as possible. The faster they get that going, the better off Iraq is. And yes, you guys, I did see that part in the paragraph that people were bringing to my attention. What does that mean? It says something about reducing the budget as well as the exchange rate. I wouldn't look too much into that. There's nothing wrong with being a little excited, but don't count on it. The best we could do is just wait till they make the official announcement so that we know whether or not they're actually going to change the exchange rate. I'm going to bank on no, they won't do it. Hopefully they will. We'll see. But I understand where the confusion is. Anyways, that's it for now. I look forward to your comments, and I will get back at you later. I'm out.